In today's episode, we're heading to India to talk about life after the pandemic. One billionaire's plans to become the next Amazon, and of course, the largest single-family home in the world. You're not going to believe this one. It's all here and more on the Borderless podcast. My name is Ben.
And I'm Ali.
And today we have a very special guest joining us all the way from New Delhi.
Amit. We're happy to have him here. Introduce yourself, Amit.
Hi Ali, hi Ben. My name is Amit and currently I'm living in the city New Delhi.
And now you guys go way back.
Yeah, we go 17 years, I think. It was like winter 2004. And we met in New Delhi because I was there for a excursion kind of a thing when I was in college. I went for a volunteer trip to work with some orphans and clinics, etc. And I met Amit while I was there.
Amit, you're from Dwarka, and that's a province in New Delhi. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
So can you maybe explain to the American audience who might not know anything about Dwarka, what was that like growing up there? Because I know it's changed a lot since you grew up.
So basically Dwarka is a subsidy. It is situated to the New Delhi's airport. So I live in southwest of Delhi. So when I was a kid, there was like few buildings, few modern amenities. But as soon as I grown up, the things has been changed. Now we have metros, we have stadiums, we have some great malls, some great schools. So now the things has been changed now.
I remember when I was there, Amit, your neighborhood, it's of apartment buildings, right? It's like these tiny little kind of apartment buildings, like 1-level, 2-level apartment buildings. And the people there, they have a decent life, but it's a little bit harder edged, right? Or it was in 2004. But I actually came back to New Delhi a couple times in 2015 and 16. And I saw there's like stores everywhere and it's completely changed. So it was clearly obvious that things are improving, right?
Yes, sir.
All within the last 20 years. Dwarka has really modernized. It's kind of taken that step in the forward direction. It sounds like a lot of jobs have been opened up. The economy has been booming. Was it difficult finding work for you?
So it was like 2010. I finished up my studies. It was not so difficult for me. I easily got the job. I was working for like 5 years in Bose Corporation. It's a US based company. There were some challenges. So like in November 2016, the Indian government demonetized the 500 and 1000 rupees note. There was no money in the ATMs. There were huge lines in front of the banks and people were suffering with no cash. Like they were running out of money. They have no money. Old currency was completely banned and there were no new currency in the market. So somehow it affect the economy also because people have no currency.
I remember seeing some of the lines outside of the banks. And you told me that the reason why Modi was doing this was because there was a lot of counterfeit money, because the money that was being produced for India and was also being produced for their neighbors in Pakistan was being produced in a money-making printing factory. Yes. Both of them were in the same factory. And as a result, bad actors were creating a lot of counterfeit money. Right? So has this been kind of eliminated with this reprinting of the money and what Modi did in 2016, this issue with the counterfeit money from Pakistan?
Yes, they just seized 610 crore of rupees, which is black money, black currency. So they seized from different organizations. So it was good thing for those who was using the black money, but it was like bad thing for the middle class. There were some difficulties that people face, difficulties in depositing or exchanging the demonetized money.
For the audience, for a frame of reference, people in India, like a lot of developing countries, keep their money like under their mattress, in bags, in the closet, etc. You know, and this was before all of this, what Modi was trying to do. Basically, he was trying to eliminate counterfeit money, eliminate inflation, and also he was trying to get them to move to a credit economy, which his plan was for phase 2 of this, to move them to a credit economy the next year. But a lot of people lost money because he gave them an ultimatum to deposit all of this in the banks by the end of December of that year when I was there. And a lot of people lost their money because they could only deposit 10,000 rupees per day, for example. So, and they had way more than that, millions. So the second stage of this, which I just mentioned, was the credit movement. And right now, there's a guy, a billionaire in India called Mukesh Ambani, who is the head of a mining and energy and retail company. And he is now pushing to become the leader of 5G in all of India and spread 5G across the country, and also create phones and the new iPhone of India with this company, GeoMart, which is like the Amazon now of India. How do you feel about this movement towards this credit economy and this spread of GeoMart nationally?
He's the biggest businessman in India. So he's living in the 28th story building, which is the most expensive house in the world, I guess. He's living with the 600 servants there. So his vision is to improve the network quality in India. So he's just working aggressively for 5G. So he wants to stop 2G services in India. And he just started a few stores like Reliance Digital, which is a grocery stores, and some electronic stores in India. So now he just want to open up some GeoMart store. It's like Walmart or like Amazon stores in any other
Amazon
country.
is suing him, right? I think Amazon is suing him right now because they don't want to lose that Indian market, right?
He just want his own company's market in India. So one platform for all, for shopping, groceries, for electronic gadgets. So he just want to give some good challenge to the Amazon.
And the people like this, are they receptive? Are they actually starting to online shop? Is that happening?
Yeah, people is liking it just because they are getting job from him, but they are doing some online shopping as well, where we get some good discounts. So it's a good initiative by him, and yeah, it's a good thing.
Okay. Well, Ben, we're going to move on from Mukesh, but just the last thing on that, Facebook just invested $5 billion into,
Whoa.
yeah, and Google is working with his company now to create a new phone because Apple's trying to get into that market. Most phones in India are Chinese phones, so like Oppo and
Sure.
Huawei and a couple of the other ones, but they're trying to create that market. But Amit and I, we tried to go see Mukesh's house. Okay, we tried to go see his house in Mumbai. We took a train from after your brother got married, and I came to that wedding in 2016.
Yes.
We took a train to Mumbai illegally. We didn't have tickets for this train. We stowed away. We slept in a linen closet.
We also convinced to the linen guy for the seats. So it was an amazing journey. It wasn't like unforgettable journey.
And you managed to convince him to let you ride a train from Dwarka to Mumbai. That's a long ways.
17 hours, right? I mean, 17 hours.
17 hours. It's a long journey.
And we just like we're like in between the cars of the train for 17 hours, but it was like the greatest experience ever. We had our tickets, right, Amit? We had our tickets, and we were going to meet your brother, and then he missed the train or something like that. So then we were ticketless, but we were on the train. But when we got to Mumbai, back to our story, we got to Mumbai and we went to Mukesh Ambani's house. I'm just going to quickly tell the audience a little bit about this house. It's in the middle of just like regular buildings. It's just like shooting up. And the electricity bill is over like $10,000 per month. There's tennis courts, there's basketball courts, there's shopping malls, there's all kinds of stuff in this. And it's him living with his family, like in this building.
It's just him.
With 4 people only.
Yeah, the 2 children and then him and his wife in the whole building.
With 5 helipads, 600 servants, 1 shopping mall and stadium, 1 big temple, 800 car parking. Like this is the biggest house I have ever seen.
How do you feel about that? Is that a little much, or are some of the Indian people proud of such a grand monument of a building in the middle of their cities?
It's like, it sounds crazy when you talk about like such, there's such a big building for just for 4 people, and the number of servants are like increasing 600 for only 4 people. So it sounds crazy sometimes, like why they need like such a luxurious lifestyle for like 600 people. They can live in a 5-story building, they can live with for few servants, but when we talk about like he's the biggest billionaire in India, so maybe that's why he's living in such a big house just to show himself like I'm the richest person, and he just want to be the richest person. But somehow it's good thing also, like was just for four people, 600 people are working on Mukesh Ambani's house, who's getting good salary actually. Like for one person, it's like getting 2 lakhs for each for a month.
Right. Yeah, but remember we debated this like with all of our friends in India, and this building cost $1 billion, man. If I remember correctly, it cost like $1 billion to build, and that $1 billion like could build you hospitals, it can build you clinics, and
It could go a
improve
long
your
way.
roads. There's so much you can do with $1 billion. So personally, I think I'm not a fan.
Excessive? A little excessive, maybe.
Yeah, but I see the point that it makes India look a little bit nicer. But Amit, so when we got to Mumbai, we didn't just go to Ambani's house. We went to a few places, and one of the places that we went to was the Taj Hotel. And the
Yes.
Taj Hotel is like a old colonial, like English time, like hotel that is still like the nicest and fanciest hotel in Mumbai, essentially.
Yes.
Where like celebrities and like Bollywood stars and everybody go to stay. And you told me at the time that the Taj Hotel was part of a terrorist attack in 2008, I believe, from a Pakistani group, which is disturbing to me a little bit because you and I'm Muslim and you're Hindu, and we bonded. We're like brothers, and your family's my family, and I was at your brother's wedding, and honorary brother. And but maybe you can tell us a little bit about that incident, and then what are your thoughts towards that?
Yeah, in 2008, 17th of November, I guess. So there were 10 people who came to Mumbai, and like there were 8 attacks. Basically, they were from Pakistan, and they just randomly firing to such busiest place of Mumbai, one of the Taj Mahal Hotel, and one is train station. There were like 2,000 people were injured and 200 people were died. There were Muslims who were died. There were some people from America who were died. Some people from different province, and it feels bad sometimes. Like why these things happen in all around the world, and we cannot just blame for like he's Muslim, he do this, he done this. Like religion has nothing to do with terrorism. Like they are just brainwashed, they just want to harm the people. I'm not going to blame like only terrorist activities happen from Pakistan. It can happen anywhere, it can happen in my cities also. So it depends on the bad mentality only.
I agree with those sentiments, Amit, and it hurts my feelings too, because as a Muslim, it makes Muslims look bad. Like, that's not what we are. That's not what this religion preaches, right? And when I came to your brother's wedding, like I was wearing the Hindu outfit, right? I was wearing like the whole thing. And obviously I took part in the ceremonies, and there's nothing wrong with bonding with people from other backgrounds. And one thing that hurts me now that I am like an honorary member, of both your family and also just so in love with your country, is what's happening with coronavirus right now in India. And I know that this has been a struggle for you. And this will be our last question of the podcast. But in America, we've seen that a lot of people have gotten sick and a lot of people have died with the virus, and that India's economy is struggling as a result as well. People are losing their jobs. What can you tell us from the perspective of somebody who's going through COVID in India right now that the American public may not know about how hard it's been?
Before COVID, I was doing a job in post. So like my life was very smooth. And suddenly the COVID came and there was lockdown and we were just locked at our home. So everything was like shut down for a couple of months. And number of people lose their jobs. People were migrating from modern cities to countryside, their hometown, they're moving like barefoot with no food. And it was very challenging for us, basically. I myself lost my job just because of COVID, and there were like number of people were dying, no money, no food. There was no medicines, no oxygen. Like the entire health infrastructure was collapsed badly.
And some members of your family got COVID, and now you guys all have the vaccine as well, right? And I know that the Serum Institute of India, which is one of the biggest vaccine makers in the world, has made a lot of vaccines for Indians, and COVAX, which is the international collaboration spearheaded by the WHO, is sending vaccines to India and other countries as well, from America and elsewhere in China. Has that helped at all? Do you think it's calming down? And do you think, I know now you guys didn't have a lot of help like medications and everything for a while too. Is it calming down?
Yes, definitely. Like we have a collaboration with two vaccine institute. One is Serum Institute, as you stated, and there is one is Bharat Biotech, which is making Covaxin. They are making Covaxin vaccination for the COVID, and they are just aggressively working on that. They are just making such number of vaccines on a daily basis, and people are getting vaccinated, and government is awareing people about COVID and to get vaccinated themselves. So I myself got vaccinated from the government side. My entire family got the vaccination. And it's a good initiative by the government. They are taking some good step, and they are just encouraging people to get vaccinated and awareing them with some posters, some media. So yeah, they are just doing such a great work.
Just the last point on the COVID is that, we in America, we also saw that the hospitals didn't have oxygen, and the Indian people were angry because they said you had a year and a half to plan towards the government. And then there's more news coming out that the prime minister is using the money to build his new
palace. Yeah.
Right. It's kind of like Ambani syndrome. I don't want to keep picking on that guy, but like there's a lot of like the rich are like using the money here, and it's unfortunate because
there's a misappropriation of funds somewhere. I think that money could probably be used elsewhere to help the country.
But Amit, thank you so much, man. I love you, brother. It's so good to have you.
Thank you. Nice to meet you, man.
Thank you, Amit.
Thank you, Ali. Thank you. Have a good day.
You're welcome. And Ben, we're going next to.
That's right. So the audience, stay tuned because next week we are heading to the island nation of Japan to discuss the controversies involved with hosting the postponed 2020 Olympics.
All right, everybody. See you next week.
Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.